You're fine.
Well, this is certainly a day for celebration in our state, not just for the tremendous and tireless effort of so many people who brought this legislation to fruition, but also, I think, a day of celebration for our children and for the future of our state. I want to take this opportunity to thank everyone for perhaps one of the most ambitious education improvement efforts in the last 2 decades. We're taking today an enormous step forward towards achieving the goal of ensuring that 40% of our children get at least 2 years of post-secondary education and training, and at least 40% of all students get a baccalaureate degree or higher. I also want to thank the members on both sides of the aisle who brought this bill to my desk today. This is just another example, starting with redistricting, of the bipartisan work that this legislature has been able to accomplish to move our state forward. As most of you know, Senate Bill 909 is the central element in our education improvement agenda. And with the Oregon Education Investment Board, we will begin the process of developing an effective and accountable 0 through 20 education system, integrating early childhood services with K through 12 and K through 12 with post-secondary education and training, and basing investments on student performance. The board and the design team that will be set up between now and the time that recommendations are brought to the 2012 legislature will do a number of things, including focusing on early childhood services to make sure that all of our children are ready to learn when they reach kindergarten, are ready to read when they get to the first grade, and are reading when they leave the first grade. Creating a budget and guidelines for grades 11 through 14 to ensure a smooth transition for high school and college performance. Streamline related boards and agencies. Realign education data collection under one system to track student performance all across the 0 through 20 education continuum, and finally making budget decisions based on evaluations of available resources and expected student outcomes. I want to say, though, that this legislation is not a substitute for long-term, adequate, stable funding for our entire education system. Our school system is underfunded at all levels, from early childhood through post-secondary education, and I am committed to ensuring that we get adequate resources to our system of public education. But even as we take that on, it's important to ensure that the resources are being invested in the system designed for the challenges, the educational challenges of the 21st century, not the last century. This is a great start. This is a great start. There's no question we have a lot of work to do, but I am confident that we're up to it. I am very, very confident that we will, in fact, meet this challenge and develop this new educational system for the state of Oregon. There are an awful lot of people that I should thank today, far too many that I'm able to do, but I'd like to just single out a couple of people. I want to express my particular gratitude to Senate President Peter Courtney and to Speaker Roblin and Speaker Hanna for making this a priority and helping us move this through the legislature. I'd also like to thank Senator Mark Haas for his leadership over on the Senate side. I want to thank Superintendent Castillo for her support of this effort. Cam Priss, the Chancellor of the System of Higher Education, Sandy Husk, the Superintendent of the Salem-Keizer School District, Sue Miller from the Salem Relief Nursery, Dick Alexander from Ready for School, Duncan Wise from the Oregon Business Association, also the support of the Oregon Business Association, the OBA, Oregon Business Council, Portland Business Association as well. I want to thank the Oregon chapter of the American Federation of Teachers for their support and input and ongoing participation in this process, and also the Oregon AFSCME was very instrumental in this. Stand for Children, Chalkboard Project, Superintendent's Policy and Vision Group, the Children's Institute, and Children First of Oregon. I also want to particularly thank my transition team leadership, Lynn Saxton and Pam Curtis, Ron Saxton, Mary Spildy, and particularly Nancy Golden. Where's Nancy Golden? Where's Nancy Golden? Nancy Golden. And finally, I would like to thank the First Lady, Sylvia Hayes, who is a source of continued support for me during some very long and difficult times. So before I sign this, I'd like to ask a couple people to come to the podium. First of all, Sue Miller.
Thank you, Governor. It is an exciting day in Oregon. I think we can feel that in this room. And for early childhood, which is the piece that I'm going to talk about just really quickly, some of the good news is that we have a very strong base in Oregon to start from, to build from, so we can feel good about the early childhood programs that we have. What we know is that we're going to need to revise our service delivery. We're going to need to serve more children for the same amount of money. I run an early childhood program in Salem, and I look at Senate Bill 909 as our waiting list reduction plan. So for all of us who have these long waiting lists, this is a wonderful day for us. We also know that we have a very specific goal. The governor and Lynn Saxton, as chair of the Early Learning Design Team, have been relentless in saying, we want these young children ready for kindergarten, reading in first grade, and succeeding all through the system. So we know we've got our marching orders, all of us working with these little tiny children, and we're going to meet that challenge. We know that for children to meet those goals, it starts at birth, and it starts with their families. So we realize this is going to be family inclusive, family focused, and we're going to have children ready for Sandy Husk when they show up at kindergarten. We're also very excited about being part of this unified system. We know that it has to start at 0, or prenatally, and it has to just continue right on. We know that early years is where that trajectory is set for success in later years. That is what we are committed to and what's going to happen in the early childhood system. On behalf of the early childhood programs and the early learning design team, many of whom are here today, we want to thank the governor for his leadership and obviously his passion and dedication to making a 0 to 20 education agenda for this state. We also want to thank the legislature for your commitment to education and including infants as well as college graduates. And we specifically want to thank the 4 legislators who served on the early learning design team, Senators Bates and Winters and Representatives Kotek and Springer. They were there every Monday night with us. It was like a Monday night sort of love-in or something over, right, Jackie? Yeah, with pizza for dinner. But we did a lot of work. And what we know is that this is definitely the beginning. We have a long road ahead of us, but early childhood, we are there for the long haul, and we're excited to be a part of the team. Thanks.
And now I'd like to ask Sandy Husk to say a few words. Sandy? Thank you.
About a year and a half ago, a group of superintendents came together and we're dreaming big. And we thought it might take years for us to see what I think we're about to see put into place today. So for that, I want to thank very much the governor and the legislators and all of the community partners that worked so hard on that. The vision from the superintendents was that we want to have outstanding education in Oregon so that we are nationally and internationally competitive with students who walk across those stages. We thought that we needed to see changes and improvements in the governance structure, in the alignment of standards with assessments, an improvement in the accountability system, and improvements in the quality of educator. We strongly believe that with this piece of legislation that we're moving in that direction. In fact, I believe that we accomplished a lot more in this legislative session than we ever dreamed possible. Our partners, in particular, from the governor's staff and COSA, Stand for Children, Chalkboard, OBA, were very much fueling and motivating us to do this hard work. I'd like to say a little bit about what it means for us here in Salem-Keizer. Every day we have an outstanding, amazing group of 40,000 kids that show up to our public school system here in Salem. About 60% of them qualify for free and reduced lunch. So about 24,000 of those students walk in ready to learn, really motivated and excited, but they often don't have the backgrounds they need from their family situations to access the kind of activities in the evenings and the weekends that will help them be as successful as they can be. They don't hear the same kind of vocabulary words. They don't get the same opportunities to interact around dialogue. So by the time they join us in kindergarten, they have further to run, further to go. And we think that this legislation, because it's 0 to 20, because it will give us a chance of making those improvements to early childhood education and beyond, that we will be much more successful. These are parents that very much love their children. They provide the best that they can, but it is the differences of the background and the resources that lead them to not being as successful academically. So we think that if we spend those resources on the front end, that we'll see much more success along the way. And I want to give you just one example prior to this legislation. This year at Washington Elementary here in Salem, we had a benefactor who said, what would happen if we gave you enough money to have full-day kindergarten and an extended school day? And what would happen if you really focused on the teacher quality in that building? And of course, we do that across the district. But when in this one example, he wrote us a check, a substantial donation. And in the results of our internal reading assessment are nothing short of amazing. Of the students who had a half-day kindergarten prior year, 27% met grade level. This year, the kids from the very same neighborhood who had full-day kindergarten, and their pass rate on that same assessment was 88%. So you can imagine, same demographics, same neighborhood, but the amount of time, quality of educator, and staying vigilant on aligning standards and assessments, and those children are just as capable. So we think this is a much better of investment. We're very, very appreciative of all the hard work. We know the hardest work is yet to come, and we're in to help the leadership of this state, across the state, do much better things for our children, and thank you very much.
And finally, I'd like to ask Representative Comp to say a few words.
Well, thank you, Governor. It's my honor to be here and to be in this room of people that have inspired me for a number of years. This is the inspiration that we need for every one of our teachers to be successful, to make those 88%. I was like Sandy. I thought we had an incredible agenda ahead. How are we going to pass this? How are we going to do that? As I'm looking out at every person that's standing in this room, you've all made a difference, but we're doing it for our children, we're doing it for our teachers, and we're doing it for our state. And I really want to appreciate the governor for his vision and his tenacity. I think sometimes they call us bulldogs when we have that kind of tenacity, but everybody in this room needs to know we're all going to roll up our sleeves and go on to those next steps. Thank you, Governor.
Wait, I haven't read it.
Amended version.
All right. All right, I guess we could do a few questions, but not very many. Great.
There you go.
All right.